I am sick to death of Manchester United. I am sick to death of watching my football club play this kamikaze football where they treat the ball as if it's a ticking time bomb and try to play basically on the counter with no regard for any sort of control and composure in possession. It is truly and utterly painful to watch. And not only is it painful to watch, it's not effective because it is very predictable. Any decent manager can see it coming from a mile away. Dropping Amad Diallo is absolutely criminal. And you know what's crazy? You know what's more criminal than Erik Ten Hag dropping Amad Diallo? Is Manchester United fans actually defending it. There were people before the game actually trying to justify the decision because, apparently Rashford's better on the counter than Diallo. So this makes sense because if Liverpool play a high line and they have more of the ball, then apparently it makes sense to start Rashford over Ahmed or Garnacho over Ahmed, whichever way you prefer to look at it, because we're going to play on the counter. How is that acceptable? How is that an acceptable explanation as to why one of our best attacking players so far this season has been dropped? In year 3, after all the money he's spent and after all the profile of players he's signed, let me just run you through it. He signed a ball-playing goalkeeper in Andre Onana. He signed a ball-playing centre-back, 2 of them, in Mateus de Ligt and Lisandro Martinez. He then signed Christian Eriksen, who is a midfield maestro who's coming towards the end of his career, granted, but is still a technically gifted footballer who's known for his ability on the ball. He also signed Mason Mount, a little bit questionable. Ugarte, Amrabat, a little bit questionable. In terms of the profile, they're different to the other ones I've just mentioned. And then he signed Joshua Zirkzee and Rasmus Højlund, 2 strikers who are not known for their goal-scoring abilities, but are rather known for all the other aspects of being a modern number 9, like their hold-up, their technical ability, and their ability to bring other people into play. And yet the type of football that we play does not match up with these profiles. We signed players who are good on the ball, but we play kamikaze football. We play as if the ball is lava, and the goal is to get rid of the lava as quickly as possible. It does not make sense. It is inefficient, it is nonsensical, and it is incredibly difficult to watch. So to all the people who signed a petition begging for this manager to stay after the FA Cup final, I hope you're happy. And I don't want to see any of you cussing out Casemiro today, because that's negative, that's toxic. You're supposed to back your players and back your manager, remember? Just back him, man. Give him time. That's you guys. That's what you guys were saying. All those Manchester United fans who gave people like me abuse for wanting this manager out. I hope you're happy because this is what you wanted. You wanted to keep this manager who starts certain players regardless of form and regardless of merit. Bruno Fernandes, he was a ghost today. Casemiro was awful today. Rashford was awful today. But guess what? They're going to start next week. And they're going to start the week after that. And they're going to start the week after that. And guess what? The week after that, they're going to start again. Because that's your manager. It's not season 1. We've seen this movie before. There is enough evidence to suggest that Erik Ten Hag is going to do this again. I cannot believe there are still people falling for it. I cannot believe there are people on my timeline genuinely justifying his decision to not start Ahmed and saying, well, it's just a one-off thing. No, it's not a one-off thing. Because guess what? I was screaming for Amad Diallo to start last season, all of last season, and he never did. Even after scoring a goal to send us through to the FA Cup final by beating Liverpool. Or what was it? The semi-final, before we played Man City in the final, Coventry. Right before the Coventry game, we played Liverpool, I believe, and then we advanced through to the next round, played Coventry, and then played Man City in the final. Point is, Amad Diallo was pivotal to us being in that situation to begin with, and he never got rewarded with minutes. And suddenly people think, what? That's going to change the season. Based on what? Based on what? I am sick to death of people backing this manager and telling everybody else who doesn't agree that they're negative, they're toxic, especially fans who don't come from the UK, like myself. We get told we don't know how to point Manchester on a map and that, we should just support our locals and that we're plastics, we're fake fans. Great. I hope you're backing your manager today. I hope you're happy. Back the manager, back the team. Anyways, let's talk about the game. Casemiro was awful. He was involved in both goals for Manchester United. And the truth is, a lot of people will blame Casemiro, and they should. But it's not just Casemiro. Because if you look at the types of passes that he's trying to play in both situations, it's because he is trying to play on the break. And if you look at the first goal in particular, Bruno and Mainu both have their back turned to Casemiro when he wins the ball in midfield. As soon as he wins the ball and he looks up to play a pass, Bruno and Maino are not showing themselves to receive the ball. That is a problem. Because if you're trying to play on transition, especially with a player like Casemiro, who doesn't have the ball-playing abilities of a Frankie de Jong or Sergio Busquets or any other ball-playing six, you need to give him passing options. That's what Madrid excelled at. The reason why Casemiro was effective at Real Madrid is because he didn't need to play a 60-yard diag. He was able to lay the ball off to Modric and Kroos, and they would play the 60-yard diag for him. So Madrid were able to play effectively on the counter with Casemiro as their ball-winning midfielder because it worked. They had two people next to him who were willing to receive the ball. What you can't do is ask Casemiro to do that role for you and then tell the other two midfielders to just dart up the field. As soon as we win the ball, just run. Roadrunner FC. Duracell Bunny FC. As soon as we win the ball, just run into space as fast as you can because Casemiro is going to find you somehow, miraculously, even though he's never done that in his career and will never do that in his career. Certainly not in his mid-30s, mid to early 30s. Right? If he hasn't done it in his 20s, he ain't going to learn that skill suddenly in his 30s in one of the most intense and fast leagues in the world. It just does not make sense, and yet still people find ways to justify. Still people find ways to scapegoat players and say, oh, it's just injuries. That's what we got told last season. It's just injuries. Apparently, if it wasn't for injuries, we wouldn't have finished 8th. So I asked the question again, what's the excuse today? What's the excuse today? Because apparently if we didn't have injuries, we would be fine. Apparently if we just backed the manager, we would be fine. Well, he signed a whole new 11. Let me walk you through it. He signed Andre Onana, who's a goalkeeper. He signed Mazraoui, who's a fullback. He signed Malacia, who's also a fullback. And guess what? They play on opposite flanks. So those are those two positions covered. Plus he likes Diego Dalot, who he inherited. So those positions are covered. He signed 2 centre-backs. Those positions are covered. He signed 3 midfielders. 4 or 5 midfielders if you want to count the loans. Because Sabitzer, Amrabat and Eriksson all count as midfielders that Erik Ten Hag has signed. But we can leave them to the side and say he's signed Mason Mount. He's inherited Kobe Mainu, who he clearly likes. He's inherited Bruno Fernandes, who he clearly likes. So he might as well have signed him because he made him captain. And he signed Casemiro. So that's practically a midfield that he wants. Yes, Casemiro may not have been his first choice target, and Casemiro may not have been the signing of his dreams, but that is still a signing that was made under him. He was backed. End of story. The front 3. He loves Marcus Rashford. That might as well have been his own signing too, because he paid 80 million euros for Antony, and he does not start nearly as much as Marcus Rashford. Equally, he's let go of other players who are technically superior to Marcus Rashford in favour of him. So as far as I'm concerned, Rashford is basically an Erik Ten Hag signing because he loves him just as much as he loves his own son. And clearly, Rashford can do no wrong because I guarantee you he'll be starting next week. And I guarantee you he'll start every single week under Erik Ten Hag because those are the manager's words. He believes in Rashford. He thinks Rashford can get 20 to 25 goals this season. These are not my words. These are your manager's words. The same one you guys signed a petition to beg Ineos to keep after the FA Cup final. I hope you're happy. Right? He's signed a whole new 11. 2 strikers, by the way. Not 1, 2. 2 new strikers. And people are still talking about the fact that, we lack goals in the team, so we're going to struggle for goals this season. Whose fault is that then? Who decided to sign 2 young number 9s who are both not known for their goal-scoring abilities and are both known for being very raw and young talents? Who signed them? Again, I keep saying it, man. I keep saying it, and the sad thing is, I actually wanted Erik Ten Hag at the club. Like, I was actually excited when we signed Erik Ten Hag. But I think, like many Manchester United fans, after season 1, maybe halfway through season 2, I very quickly realized that this guy is not the guy that I thought he was. I've been catfished. I've been lied to. I've been duped. And it's okay. I don't really have an issue admitting when I was wrong. I genuinely do not have an issue saying, you know what, I'm going to put my hands up. I got this wrong. I thought I wanted this, but, this is not what I wanted. Some Manchester United fans are incapable of doing that, and they will die on this Erik Ten Hag heel, and they've abused people who refuse to die on that heel with them along the way. To those people, I hope you're happy. I hope you're happy, and I don't want to see a single one of you going in on Casemiro because he loves the club. He points at the badge when he scores, he loves it. He understands it. He gets it, right? Back him then, right? Back him. Back your player. Because that's the type of players you guys like, right? The passion merchants. Back Lisandro Martinez today, even though he dropped a stinker. Back Marcus Rashford. I don't want to see a single one of you asking for Marcus Rashford to be sold because he's Manc born and bred, right? He gets it. He understands it. It doesn't matter that he's been playing badly. Oh, we don't care about that. All we care about is if you love the club. Heck, if Jadon Sancho had just pointed at the badge and just had Manchester United branding all over his social media accounts, maybe Manchester United fans would actually be bothered that he's gone to Chelsea. Maybe Manchester United fans would actually be demanding for him to start games every week if all he did was point at the badge and talk about how much he loves the club, because that's clearly what Manchester United fans care about. That's all we care about. All throughout this week, I've seen people clowning Jadon Sancho for leaving Manchester United and saying, yeah, he doesn't love the club, it's good, blah, 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 blah. And I'm thinking to myself, how about actually talking about the quality of players? How about that? How about actually being good at your job? It just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense to me. But if I spoke about the things that don't make sense to me when it comes to Manchester United, we'd be here all night. So I'm going to wrap the video up. Fair play to Liverpool, by the way. I just completely forgot to talk about it. Fair play to Liverpool. They completely and utterly dominated us. If it wasn't for Mo Salah being offside, it should have actually been 4-0. So, yeah, fair play to them. And honestly, I didn't really expect us to win this game. I was hoping we'd win this game, but I can't say hand on heart that I genuinely believe we're going to get something out of this game, because I don't have any confidence. I can't believe there were people actually predicting Manchester United to finish in the top 4. That's absolutely ludicrous. Whether you're a rival or a Manchester United fan, I don't get your logic, because today is yet another piece of evidence why Manchester United are not as good as people think. And I say it again, despite the fact that I'm happy with the decisions Ineos have made behind the scenes, their biggest mistake was keeping Erik Ten Hag. And because of this manager, I am not confident in our season at all. It's going to be a very long season until we decide to sack Erik Ten Hag and bring in a suitable replacement. Otherwise, it's been your boy Triple M. Leave a like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and leave a comment. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Peace!